evening, everyone. I am going to call this meeting to order with the stand of the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you everyone for being here. Before we go about with our board business, I do need to make an appointment of a secretary since Amanda is not here. So Heather is going to be our secretary this evening. So thank you, Heather. And also I am going to amend the agenda for this evening to, before we do citizen comments, to put a special celebration at the beginning of our meeting. So I'm making a motion that we move to put a special celebration for our board secretary.
Second.
Any opposed? All right, well, this is a special thing that Betsy, of course, had no idea because it is in recognition of her birthday, which is today. So those of you that do not know, Betsy is not only the superintendent, executive secretary, but she is also the board secretary, and this is such a special occasion because she does so much, not only for Adam, but of course for this board, and we just wanted to take a moment to, especially on her birthday, to recognize how essential she is to this board, to this district, and this community. So,
thank you.
All right, well, we do have cheesecake. I know she had some special treats earlier, but we wanted to share some cheesecake with everyone. So we're going to take a couple moments right now before we go about the rest of our meeting to celebrate Betsy. All right, so let's so happy birthday.
Thank you.
I know, you can probably relate. This is a surprise.
Sarah, do you want to cut the cake?
They're already pre-fried and everything, so.
Okay. I had a tough time earlier cutting this.
No, so if anyone would like cheesecake, it's just plain cheesecake. It's from the Underground Cheesecake Factory from Traverse City.
Just because I don't need cheesecake squishes all over my
Oh, that's a good
minutes.
idea. All right, so we have plenty, so please come and.
At any point during anybody's presentations, just come get some.
No.
I'll get one on the way to closed session. If there's any left.
Oh, I forgot that we had closed session.
All right. Here's your chance.
All right, I will leave some up here. Members, I would like some board members. Alright, well, I'll leave some up here so anybody else can come, grab some, please. Enjoy. Thank you. Yes, I will pass it. Does every board member want some?
No, thanks.
What? Just one.
I'll have it. Sure. But you have to have a piece too.
No, but Adam wants.
Well, I'm going to take it with me to
Okay, well.
closed session.
Wait, don't give him this one. I have too much sugar on it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, this is like hard cheesecake. It's like frozen cheesecake.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's all right. 2 minutes, I'll let it thaw out.
Good.
It's a little
Let it
frozen.
thaw out a little bit.
All right, well, again, please help yourself. There's plenty up there. So, thank you all for allowing us to take a pause. So we will get back to our regular business. Are there any citizens in the audience that would like to address the board? Now is the time. You'll have 3 minutes. You can come to the board. And this first part of citizen comments is for agenda items only. However, there is a part at the second, or there's a second part at the end of our meeting for anything that is not on the agenda to address the board.
Hello, I'm Erin Richards. I live at 214 South Hayford Ave, Lansing, Michigan, 48912. Good evening, members of the board. Since 2018, I've been proud to serve at Williamston High School as a teacher, student government advisor, and soccer coach. My first 4 years here were among the best of my 12-year teaching career. Unfortunately, the past 3 years have been the most difficult, not because of my students or the work itself, but because of the ongoing harassment and verbal abuse from a small number of individuals in the community. Over the past few years, I've been the subject of numerous false accusations sent via emails and phone calls to administrators and board members. Each time I've been investigated, and each time the claims were found to be unsubstantiated. More recently, I was threatened by a parent on the sidelines of a soccer game, faced relentless scrutiny and misinformation, and was repeatedly harassed over coaching decisions, often in public settings. These accusations and confrontations have not only come from parents, but also individuals involved in the youth soccer program, Soccer Booster Club, who did not have children currently participating in the high school girls soccer program. This ongoing abuse has taken a significant toll on my mental health. I've experienced anxiety, panic attacks, and depression. When I reached out for support, I often felt alone and unsupported. Since 2020, our district has prioritized student mental health and social emotional learning, a commendable and necessary focus. But we must now expand the commitment to include the well-being of our teachers and coaches. As Paige Paulson recently said to me, if we don't take care of our staff, how can we take care of the kids? That question has stuck with me. I spent a lot of time reflecting on what has happened. I've felt sadness, anger, and frustration, but most of all, a sense of responsibility. If I don't speak up, nothing will change, and I fear this could happen to someone else. According to the Williamston Athletic Handbook, it is inappropriate to discuss with coaches playing time. It also states if you have a concern to discuss with the coach, you must first set up an appointment with the coach. If you cannot reach the coach, set up a meeting with the athletic director, and parents are not to attempt to confront a coach before or after a contest or practice. Throughout the spring soccer season, this was violated multiple times, sometimes by the same parent. I'm hoping that the school district will re-examine this policy to put in consequences for parents who violate this policy, so this will deter parents from continuing this behavior. Board goal number 4 focuses on improving infrastructure and ensuring the safety and security of our schools and facilities. Over the past several months, I have not felt safe, either in my classroom or on the athletic field. There were times I was left alone on the sidelines without assistant coaches or administrators present, despite known risks. I respectfully ask this board to consider forming a committee of stakeholders to review and revise the policies related to athletics, parent-coach communication, and booster involvement. We need clear protocols, better safeguards, and a renewed commitment to creating a culture where staff feel supported and protected. My hope is that bringing this forward can begin meaningful conversations and take action to ensure this doesn't happen again, to me or to anyone else. Thank you for your time and your commitment to the well-being of everyone in our school community.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to celebrations. Adam.
Good evening, board members. Celebrations, just a couple to note, and I think probably one of the most important ones for the year, which was the celebration of the class of 2025 a weekend ago at commencement. Posted the story just today. We were waiting to get some photographs of the event, so those are on there. I think by all accounts, all the feedback I heard, nearly perfect ceremony. I know we had the one speaker whose hat fell off. That might have been the worst thing that happened the entire afternoon. So just want to extend appreciation. I know Dr. Delp recognizes quite a few staff members at the beginning of the ceremony who put a lot of time and work into setting all that up. We had excellent student speakers and our distinguished alumni recipient as usual. And just really proud of all the work that went in there to send those students off on a positive note. So Congratulations to the class of 2025, and just a really nice event, certainly an awesome way to end the school year for us. The only other note I would add as far as the celebration is we are in full summer mode now, so there are a ton of things going on as far as infrastructure and facilities work. A lot of that will get touched on later today. Kids Camp started today with a huge turnout, and I think that'll even go higher tomorrow when you get the Tuesday through Thursday. Students signed up for that. So really off to a very good start this summer. A lot of things going on, but all positive, and look forward to keeping you updated as the next few months go by. That's it for celebrations today, unless you have any questions.
Any questions for Adam? Just a comment that graduation was spectacular this year. I would agree that I didn't hear one negative comment about it. Everyone said that timing was great. So well done to everyone that was involved in the preparation and that day. For our education update, we have Explore Elementary Design and Progress update. We have Chuck Marchetti from French Associates along with Andrew Dobbs from Chrisman Company. Now, this is really exciting time. This will be the first time that not only the board has seen a design of what the new Explore Elementary will look like, but also, of course, the community. We ask that there's some patience here because this is just kind of a first look. Colors and scope, all of that stuff. We probably won't get into tonight, but this will give us a nice overview of what the design could potentially look like. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'll get started with the schedule. So as you were mentioning, this is a brief overview of where we're at so far. We're not into colors. There's three main aspects when it comes to the design of the project, or three phases I'll call it. There's schematic design, design development, and then construction drawings. So for you guys to know that basically the very first one is we just get a schematic design together, and then we kind of put an estimate together with that. That is where we have just kind of gotten done with, and now we are just starting design development, which is the middle phase of it, get a little bit more details, roughly going to be 50% done with the design of it. And then the very last one is construction documents, when you're picking out those colors, when you're picking out the finishes, on what color's the wall going to be, what's the flooring going to be. So we're not to that stage yet. I think that's more of a September probably-ish timeline. And the goal is to be out to bid with this in October. And so once you guys, I know on your calendar right now there's no board meeting set up for the next calendar year, but we'll probably come to you guys in your December timeline, December board meeting for what the bid results were at and what recommendations would be for that at time. So that's just kind of a general timeline of how it works, schematic design to design development to construction drawings, working through that phase. And we estimate it as we go along the whole entire time, so we know how we're looking compared to what our budget was for the bond projects. Okay? Who's controlling the slides?
Should be a clicker up there.
There is a clicker up here. All right. Okay, well that's kind of the first slide. So you can see this is the bond update all together. The big line, which is the fourth one down, is the Explorer Elementary. And that kind of gives where the design is at currently. Right now we're in June, so next month is when we'll actually be done with DD design, and we'll be estimating that. And then you can see we're going to be out to bid kind of October, November, December, starting construction March timeline-ish of next year is what it's showing. That's all tentative. Things are positive or possibly can change around a little bit, especially once we get the actual bids in, see where everyone's at, if there's any long lead time items. But for general purposes, that's kind of what we're looking like for a schedule. And that's kind of giving you an update of what we're looking like for the schedule, a whole entire bond as well for active construction. So you can kind of tell next summer, not only will be new Explorer Elementary going on, but you'll also have pool pack at the high school, the drop-off lane at the high school, and then flooring upgrades throughout the middle school and high school as well will be all going on. So it's just kind of an update overall, a schedule. Next slide. One of the biggest things that I do when I'm putting together the bid documents is, of course, go out to get the bidders of how we're going to build this project for you. But one of the biggest things I've got to do is how am I going to build this project on an occupied campus. And so I put together a very detailed, what I call logistical plan of where is my temp fencing going to go, how is my temp fencing going to be installed, where are my gates going to be. And I'm always keeping in mind that I'm going to keep my construction people separate from your students, so that there's no possibility of a student accidentally getting into our construction site, or my construction machinery getting outside of the construction site, unless like this has always all been worked through. So for example, one of the things we're going to do on this project is, you're very congested, kind of your drop-off lane. So I'm going to make my entrance and exit have nothing to do with you guys down there, and I'm going to be coming off of Rowley Road. So it's just like a way that we're thinking of how do we keep us separate so that, as you know, safety is the very first priority on this project. I think that's, another aspect of safety is we all have to go through site-specific safety orientation, every single person on the job site. And we all have a sticker. You'll see with a little Williamston sticker on our hard hats that lets you know that, hey, this person's been through the safety orientation. They know they can be here. Because not everyone will have like these badges. These are just for us kind of. But all the contractors will have a safety badge on their hard hat that lets us know and lets you know if you ever see them that, hey, they've been through the safety orientation. They know how to work on an occupied campus. Okay.
All right, so this slide here is site, and I'm actually going to have Craig Gengler come up from Spalding to discuss the site. If I'm reading this correctly, I believe this little light here will probably point to whatever you want it to point to.
All right. So, how do you turn it on?
It's already on.
Oh.
Maybe not.
Sometimes it works.
There we go.
You go.
Back
Other
row.
side.
Holding it upside down. All right. So with the bond, one of the most important things we wanted to fix was the process of parent pickup and drop off and congestion, in particular pedestrian safety around the four-way intersection right here that currently, if you see the jog in the road right there, it came out basically straight right there. So it was misaligned with Riverside Street, I believe that is. And so the goal is to align that drive right there, demolish the house that's right here, and then you'll notice as the drop-off lane comes on through, there's no parking anywhere along this drop-off lane. So it's solely dedicated to parent pickup and drop-off queuing capacity. So now you're queuing parents on the property of the school. So currently, I believe there's parents queuing up, down, and around here. There's parents queuing up, down into this neighborhood. And so we've evaluated what the current queuing amount is and worked to make sure that between the three lanes that are shown here, the bottom two lanes are able to hold the number of vehicles for the parents that are mostly showing up early in the afternoon to get their child. As far as the parking that was previously along the drive on the north side here, we've now put those into dedicated parking lots. So this would be a parking lot dedicated to the administration building, which is right here, with a dedicated crosswalk right here. So those crosswalks, as you see along here, here, and here, those are raised crosswalks to both provide safety for pedestrians that are going to and from the parking lots or accessing the trail that's right here, that are raised up. They're going to be concrete, so they're a different color. And it really slows the vehicles down as they go, east to west or west to east across here, and then provides priority to the pedestrians that are crossing the three lanes of drive lanes there. And so then, as we get to the larger lot here that really replaces the bulk of the parking lot, this would be for visitors and teachers for the new school that sits about right here off of the existing building there. That northern lane stops at that parking lot, so it allows a sort of bypass in the morning. If teachers are arriving while students are being dropped off, they can access in to that parking lot without being really stuck in the queuing of cars. We are putting gates and such on these as a possibility of closing if, parents feel they want to access those and think they're going to get their children. So we're really trying to control where vehicles are going in and out of the site. And then another thing is we are making sure that traffic is only flowing from a west to east direction. So all of this is one way, and traffic all enters in from here. They continue on through, and they would stop about right here. And then once they've received their children, they would go north and go right out to Rowley Road, which is a right turn only or a left turn only at Rowley Road. We talked about the idea of allowing that to be a two-way entrance, but we didn't want to introduce competing direction of traffic as they're coming in and out of the site. Everyone can expect as you're leaving the school that cars will only be coming from one direction, and that would be from the west and moving east. And so we've provided a drive around the back of the building that serves, there's the existing playground here, serves the service yard in the back, and then some open green space off to the east for some play fields if that's what they want to be used for there, an open flat green space. And then lastly, tucked in along the side here and fenced in is a stormwater management basin, probably about 3 to 4 feet deep, and that handles the stormwater from this whole eastern portion of the site that drains into that and then discharges off the site from there. And I think that about covers it from a plan view. There's a few renderings
Towards the end.
towards the end.
I'm going to be talking about the
Can you go
wrong
back
way.
for 1 second?
Yes.
Just with the question. Where is the current walkway to the sidewalk right now? Okay, it's right there.
Up to Raleigh Road, there's
Yeah.
that pathway right
That,
there.
it's that, okay, that is
Yep.
it. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So the next few slides are more plan, and we'll get into a little enlarged so you can actually see it. But I wanted you guys to be able to relate yourself to, we all know the wheel, we all know, the circle, we all know the existing school. So you can see how our addition is connected at this point of the circle. So we will lose some classroom space, but we all knew that that was the intention. And then we've got our 3rd, 4th, 5th grade here, offices up here, and gymnasium over here. So this is just a blow up of the actual addition on the circle there. So you can see again, here's a connection. There's an existing corridor that comes out here already. So we're connecting to that point. We've got our mechanical space here, our new gymnasium here, which is an elementary gymnasium, but it is a competitive, it's a competitive gymnasium court. It just doesn't really have any bleachers or anything. What we have is some fold-out benches along the side here. We have our administrative portion of the building here, which houses basically everything, your principal, your vice principal, counselor. There's a couple of bathrooms in here, clinic, that type of stuff. And again, we'll get into an enlarged plan here too. And then we've basically got our main access here. And as you guys saw on the civil plan, the site plan, so our pickup lane is over here. And the way we've designed this is we can queue the students inside the building here along this main corridor. And then we have an exit here for the students so that when the teachers know that the students or the parent is here, they can take their parent or their student out to the parent, and then they can continue up the drive. So again, this is just a blow up of the administrative areas here, so you can see the actual offices, you can see the gymnasium, the mechanical room. We also have, in this main entry here, we have these 2 doors here so that we can, during events, we can close these wings down, and we can just utilize this space here. And then we have 2 bathrooms in the corridor here for those events. This is your typical classroom wing. This is the main corridor coming across here. Each one has a perpendicular corridor going out. You can see the lockers along each side. We have our standard size classrooms in which we had discussed with the teachers and the principal, and the consensus was to do a little bit of counter work, like 9 foot of countertop, which would have tall storage for the teachers, and then 6 foot of, sink and countertop, and the rest we could use as movable furniture for their storage. We have the bank of bathrooms here, bringing the sinks actually out into the corridor so that you eliminate any mischievous activity that might be happening at those sinks. It seems to be working quite well with different elementary schools. We're also able to close down these corridors here if we wanted to with these doors here. This is the other 2 wings, very similar. Again, in between them, we have these collab spaces. You do over here as well, these collaborative spaces. And that's meant for, bringing some classes out here to have some learning space. We actually have benches and lockers along this wall here so that you can actually utilize this as a bench seating area. In between each of the wings, we are paving it. The intent there is, if you want to go outside and do some learning, it is actually along the south side of the building, so the kids are safe. They're not up against the traffic or anything like that. And again, this is the exit here for the kids to go to the cars. Those are all overall elevations, which you can see the gymnasium's tall. We're working on the green, but the intent is that the green would match the district. This is the office space here, the main entry, and the idea is that at the main entry, we wanted to make sure that everybody knew it was the main entry. You want to call out to that main entry and not have parents and or visitors go to other areas in the building. The only other exit really along that side though, the north side, trying to see here, those are, well, we'll just go here. That's the main entry there. This is all storefront and brick and restroom with block, is this exit here for the students. So we minimize the amount of entry points along the north wall where you have all of the visitors driving through. This is your typical classroom wing here. The intent is to have a cathedral type of ceiling inside the classrooms. So we're mimicking also kind of the discovery look, and then your entries or exits more so at the end of each wing. And those actually lead out to the playground. Similar here, we're working on materials, but the intent is, I believe, like a split face block, brick above for some of it. Yeah, this wall, brick above here. On the side walls of the classrooms, you can see the random windows here, the random layout window. They're not random windows because they're all the same size, they're just different placements. But the intent is to let as much light in as possible, and we have metal panel above. You've got metal roof, we might go to shingle roof there. And on the back side, which you'll see in the renderings here, behind this flat portion here, it's actually open so that we have clear story and we have light coming into the back side of the classrooms as well. Do you want to talk about the renderings? You probably know them better than I do.
So yeah, here's some renderings of the site and the buildings. The amount of traffic that we are showing is kind of what you'd expect at a busy pickup or drop-off, probably drop-off. And so this is a view looking to the northeast, so above the sidewalk that runs in front of the school. So the school sits over here, and there's actually a large green space right here. And then just kind of shows the three lanes kind of in action here and the sidewalk here. So here is kind of looking back where we were just looking from. So here's that end of the building where the exit would be. This is that larger parking lot and that sidewalk that comes from that parking lot. You can see the raised crosswalk right there. Just kind of looking back to the south. Here's right across from the main entrance. So the crosswalk aligns right with that main entrance, comes over like this, and then this is that walkway that runs up to Rowley Road there. That other parking lot sits over here, and then there's the gym right there, so you can kind of see the scaling, the height, the main entrance, and just just how that flow would work. Here's a view, so the four-way stop is right here, so this is the administration parking lot here. Here's the existing administration building. You can see the jog in the drive lane here, the parking, the crosswalk right there, and just how that fits into there. And then, of course, here's the new four-way stop. We're still working through this with the city. They're on board with the realignment of the four-way. You know, the goal is to keep traffic flowing in from this direction and in making that left turn, and then pushing the majority of the pedestrians into these two crosswalks that are kind of on the opposite side of where all the activity is, and the hope that it protects those pedestrians a bit more there. We don't necessarily want to see them crossing in these two spots right here. Gets them into the neighborhood a bit more, gets them onto this sidewalk that runs up to Raleigh. Of course, if they're not taking that other pathway, then they're most likely going west anyways, which would be down this walk here. So really important that this intersection get improved in terms of pedestrian safety, and that's been a huge focus for us on this project. And then here's a view looking basically west from above the detention basins here. You can see the fence around it. There's a gate here for maintenance. There's the fields right there. Just really kind of shows the curve and the ability to, if you pick up your child and they forgot something, you can still turn and go back into the parking lot or go back through the loop if you need, part of the loop at least, without having to go back out onto Raleigh Road and go all the way back to the beginning. So there's that. And then here's just looking down the drive from Raleigh Road with the two lanes, the left turn and the right turn lane. Do not enter, of course. There was a thought of keeping it 2 lanes the whole way in case ever in the future things change and we want to make one way in and one way out that are 2-directional. That's always a possibility, but for now we think the one way and having the left and right turn is the way to go. So, and then here's a view from the back of the school.
So you can actually see the clear stories in this one from above. Those windows actually, again, they feed the classrooms. So you'll actually get natural light from the back of the classrooms as well.
And you can see the paving come in around the back for service vehicles, the play area. The current school, right now there's a large paved area right here. I think there are some basketball hoops along right here. We've put the basketball hoops over here now. And then just open play area. It's most likely that the gate, there is a gate on this, it would stay closed for most of the time, so it'd be safe for the kids to play on. This is the existing playground. That may not look exactly like what's out there. We're not doing any work at the playground. This is just for, so you know where we're looking. And then yeah, all these are paved, these little courtyards here. They're there, and then some grass areas in there. And then here's just another view of the main entrance there that really just shows how it stands out in comparison to the rest of the building. You don't want people trying to drive all the way to the end of the drive lane to walk in or bypassing this, so this will stand right out on that. Okay. That's it. Yeah, just another overall view. That's it.
On that detention, or the detention basin, when you look at the environmental aspects, are we thinking that there will be a lot of water runoff that will be sitting in there for quite a bit of the time?
For safety reasons, it will drain dry.
Okay.
It'll all slope from north to south to this corner, enter into a structure like a manhole, and then discharge through a pipe out towards a ditch on the southeast corner of the site that then enters into a drain, which then goes into the river.
Okay.
And
Good.
so by standards, from the county standards, it's required to drain dry within 72 hours. And we'll also have it sloped, so if small rain events, it would only be wettest at the south end and not throughout the entire thing. So it should be able to be mowed and maintained and not be overgrown, so you can see down into it and see maintain it. So for safety reasons and such.
Will there be drainage happening, where the staff parking lot is tends to be an area that tends to be a bit wet, right? That new parking lot area?
Right here? The,
Yeah, not at the front, toward the back.
Staff.
oh, the staff.
Where between the houses and where now we have
These are from
parking,
the civil plan.
there tends to
but
be
yeah,
a lot
that's it.
of water at times that sits.
You're talking right here?
Yeah,
So yeah, our water from our, lane is being captured and about right here is a break point, so everything west of here is gonna get captured, discharged into the city system
okay.
and everything here. But we do have a amount of green space here, north of here, that, will prevent any of our water from leaving our site.
I think that, yeah, I can't speak to the standing water in the lot, but
It's not in
The-
the lot, it's in the houses, but it,
oh, well,
but
yeah.
I'm saying there's that area there
Yeah.
between the houses and our property.
So I've talked to
Tends to flood.
a number of the neighbors to the north, and that was a question that they had,
Yeah.
was about drainage, and so I think we've received assurances this will not contribute
Good.
or make that issue worse.
Worse.
So,
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? I mean, we will have some, but this is so exciting. This, just to be able to see what is possible within the space that we have, and it's remarkable how much, how it looks bigger. The space looks bigger with more things added. But it looks amazing. Looking forward to it. Anybody else?
Looks fantastic.
That was good.
Yeah, so we will be patiently waiting, and we ask community members to ask questions to board members, and we can certainly ask questions to French and Chrisman, but we also ask community members to be patient. This is a long process. Excited to, hopefully, according to Andrew, in the springtime, get started with this game going. So thank you all so much. We understand the work that was put into this in some degree, but it's very much appreciated so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Paulson, spring athletics and enrichment updates.
Good evening. Oh. All right. So yes, this is the spring one, which, excuse me, with a later time we don't normally get to do, so luckily everything's been finished, and we can give a proper recap to what happened in the spring and kind of just an overview of what else is going on into the summer. Girls soccer this year, Coach Richards, and then at the end of the season, our boys coach was interim, Ian Kurth. Our JV coach was Oscar Rios. We had 41 kids out for 2 levels. The varsity girls finished second place in conference, and we were district champions, and then lost in the regional semifinal out at Lansing Catholic. Great season, great numbers, and I'm looking forward to definitely building upon what we have this year with a lot of younger kids coming up, and then also some experience coming back in key positions. Girls tennis, Coach Trent and Coach Cullen, varsity and JV respectively. We had 39 girls out, had a huge team, very young. The record is not indicative of the growth over the course of the year, as far as a lot of the games and sets that may have been quickly over, battled later on, and pushed a lot of to 3 sets. Everybody knows about tennis, that's better than getting beat in straight sets too. So, we're looking forward to building on that again next spring with a group of girls that have a year under their belt. Boys golf, Coach Chamberlain and Coach Kelly, we had 15 kids out. Varsity carries about 6, and record indicated 16-11. We had an individual league medalist, that would be the CAC Red Division, and the screenshot there is the outcome of our regional golf match. I was actually up in Bay Harbor, so we had a little bit of a trek. Our region was extremely difficult. Our top player had the closest chance. If you don't get top 3, they take the next qualifying kids, which I believe was a 76. So 24th place with an 81, but you had to shoot 76 to go if your team didn't go. So it was very competitive. But with that, as you look, we were sophomore, junior, sophomore, one senior. So we're looking forward to to build onto that next spring as well. Boys track and field, we had 60 kids out for Coach Robinson. They won the division. We had 8 state qualifying events, so that's kids, some of them doubled up, whether it was relays or individual events, but we had 8 state qualifying events, and we had 2 all-state awards, long jump and then our 4x2 relay team. Girls track and field, Coach Kevin Redmond, this was his first year. He had 28 girls out. They were 4th in conference. We qualified in state for 5 events, and we had 1 all-state pole vaulter. So it was a very successful season for the girls as well. Baseball, we have 3 levels. Coach Orr, Coach McFarland, Coach Moyle. We have 40 kids out. 31-7 record for the varsity. We're conference champions. We got another invite to the Diamond Classic. This was our 4th district championship in a row, and we lost in the regional final to Mason. It was a great season. We got a lot of kids back, and we're looking on extending the success we've had over the last 4 years with a good group. Towards the end of the year, you have to get lucky, and unfortunately, the last couple of years, we've been unlucky with playing a couple teams that we played before, but also just some bad innings. And you hope at one point in time it turns around for us, but we'll have a bulk of our kids back, and we'll have another good season next year. Softball, Coach McKeever and Coach French. This was Coach French's first year. We had 27 girls out. The last few years we've had JV softball, which is a turnaround from the first couple where we didn't even have enough to make it happen. So it's been great seeing that, being able to field 2 teams. We were 22 and 14. We were also conference champions in softball. The Hall of Fame Classic is the equivalent to the Diamond Classic, and this was our 2nd invite back-to-back. They were district champions as well. I believe, looking at it, roughly the first time since 2012. And they also lost in the regional final in a heartbreaker in extra innings to Portland. So, again, great spring for those 2 programs with a lot to build on for the future. Our esports team, we had 13 kids out, and 1 of the teams qualified for playoffs. So we've been averaging roughly around 13, hit or miss depending on our playoff teams. It just depends on what games. The esports is obviously expanding, so titles are expanding, and we're hoping to get more kids involved with the new titles of games that are coming out. And but it's been a great space, not only for the season competition, but when we're not in season, the hub's always open, and kids are in there playing and just being involved, and that was the purpose of it. Our co-op sports, in the spring we co-op with Hazlitt in boys and girls lacrosse. They are the host school, so they basically handle everything, and our kids go over there, and they kind of just they're the point people for the sport. But we have girls and boys in both, 3 girls and then 8 boys for our lacrosse team, for the Hazlitt lacrosse team. Both were very successful this year. The girls lost in the semifinal, and the boys lost in the quarterfinal. That sport is growing, and we see kids, depending on the year, fluctuate in and out, but they have a very successful program to compete, obviously at the state level with the semifinal and quarterfinal departure this year. Our enrichment, I just kind of put up things that have been going on. This year, we've, since about December, maybe a little bit before, we've partnered with Pickleball for All. It's a LCC, and Anderson runs a lot of classes through that, and he's gotten great participation. This week there's a youth camp going on for the younger ages. He usually does a pickleball 101 class, sometimes a 102 class, depending on what group from 101 wants to continue. But probably about at least 2 times a month since December, we have something going on at night. He does a great job. It's been great for that space at night, and great for the community members who clearly enjoy it because the classes are always full. And there's about a limit of 8, but he enjoys it, does a great job, and it's been a great thing to do. We had our spring / closer to summer dances with our Sons Night Out and Daughters Night Out. We did a Western theme this year, and it was very well attended, some great feedback, not from the custodians who had to sweep hay for about 2 weeks solid, but it was a fun time. There was a lot of people there. It was busy. It was one of our better ones in recent memory for sure. We're bringing back our summer art camp, and actually starts tomorrow. We have 5 sessions this summer. We already have roughly 50 kids signed up. Obviously, varying levels. Some just doing single, some doing all of them. Some are picking and choosing. But between kindergarten and 7th grade, we got a good response. And because summer schedules are busy, people usually sign up the week before, so we expect it to grow just like it did last year. Getting kids involved and doing different forms of art. The other pictures in there are the weight room. We've, I don't want to say a remodel, but we've revamped a few things. We were able to invest some money into some new equipment. A lot of that equipment was the original, and just didn't work for the space as we're trying to service a community population, but also a high school and athletic population. So it's a very fine line we have to toe of being able to be adequate for both, and I think we're on the right stretch of doing that. The new equipment we've got in place has given us some more space in the area, as well as just upgrading it in newer things, newer technology. So we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from both members and high school kids aid athletic programs. So we're definitely trending in the right way. We're making use of a few spaces that we hadn't used before, trying to expand, just try to not make it so congested if anybody's been up there, very long, very narrow. So opening up space is always a goal, and trying to figure out how we can get more people in there to function well. Summer projects that we're going to move into fall, some administrative reorganizing, always at the top of our list is how can we make our processes more efficient and better. Coaches have a lot going on, and each year it seems like whether it be the state or the school, we have another box that they have to check, and they're without getting taken any boxes that get off their plate, it becomes quite cumbersome. So we're trying to figure out how we can make it the easiest and streamlined process for them, and help them focus on kids is our goal with some of the reorganizing that we're doing, and just who does what, and online checks and forms and those things. And that leads into improving efficiency, just making less strain on our limited coaches and staff, and making sure that we're dedicating our time for improvement and focusing on our high school athletes. There was a email towards the end of the school about formation of an athletic advisory group, and the idea behind that was just letting community members give them a voice of what they see from their lens and what they think can be improved upon. There were some topics that I started with, and the goal is just kind of facilitate that and allow the community to have a little bit more of I don't want to say, but a little bit more of a voice and a buy-in to what we're trying to do. I feel that if they're able to speak up and anything we implement, they have a little bit of a say in, they're more likely to just be a part of it and spread the positivity about what we're trying to do. So we're in the selection process. I have about 4 applicants right now. Applicants, 4 people who have wanted to be a part of it, and we hope to grow that and to a point where we can kind of pick strengths of different people and really kind of get that going and be a positive step forward in just the community athletics part of it. Building athletic communication, how do we get the information out, what information needs to go out, what is important to people. That's another one of our goals. And we started with a little podcast with one of our announcers and I, although he may be moving on, so we'll have to figure out if we can have somebody else step in. But that got some great feedback, and not necessarily from the community, which I thought was more, but actually from a few high school students that said they listened to it while they're out there working. So that kind of made me chuckle a little bit, but also made me more apt to do a few more that the high school kids are listening, because that's what it's for too, not only the parents but high school kids. So that was some of the positive feedback we got. But getting that out there, giving people options, different outlets to listen and know what's going on. There's a lot going on, as everybody can see, in this summer, and just this spring seemed to be, with weather and everything, I may have missed some stuff or some bigger things. Is there any questions about what's going on, or anything that's on your mind that I can maybe dive into a little bit?
Any questions for Paige? I have one, and it's around the communication. What type of communication is each sport different as far as how they communicate what is happening? Like I don't know, let's say tennis. If there's a match going on, how it's on the district calendar, yes, but is there like a Twitter account? Like, what do boosters have? I guess some have boosters, some don't. But what kind of communication do they use?
So each sport is, when it comes to their own program, and most of them, yes, do it through the boosters, some sort of that, and whatever social media they decide to use. That's kind of, that's been the standard, so to speak. Obviously, some are much better than others, some have more involvement. Harkening back to the athletic advisory group, that's one of the things that I'd like to tackle. We don't have a dedicated social media person, and there's a lot going on, and so it's kind of hard to get everything out for every sport about who wants what, and highlight this and highlight that. I mean, someone would have to be monitoring quite a bit, and so, or spending their time when they're not doing something, hawking on their phone. So the point being, how do we make that more streamlined? How do we, if there's a team or a group that doesn't necessarily have that outlet, how can we still make them recognized? Those kinds of things, I think, not necessarily taking it over from what the boosters are already doing, but how do we make it so that people know where to go rather than having 50 different things on their phone to make sure that they check if they want to know something. Those are the kind of things that we'd like to do, and be able to have a consistent message going around. I think that would be a lot easier, because there is a lot of stuff. Our community does a great job of promoting a lot of things. It's just in a variety of different places. And so if you're not in tune or not on that one or this one, you may or may not get that information. And I think we can definitely close that gap. But how? Just because there's so many layers, I think that's the thing that we have to tackle.
Yeah, I think the district does a nice job updating the calendar on the district page. So any community members, if you really don't know where to go there first.
We know when stuff's going on. I think we've solved that one as far as when events are going on.
Yeah.
But outcomes,
Yes.
or just bigger news or milestones and those things, not the large milestones. Dr. Spina does a great job of highlighting those on the home webpage, but just simpler things that are milestones to that specific group. And again, finding that one spot so you don't have to scour the vastness of the web to get that information would be a huge benefit, I think, to people.
Any other questions for Paige? All right, well, hopefully in the fall, the tennis courts will be done and ready to go, and everything else will look nice. All right, Thank
We're
you so
excited
much.
about that.
Yeah,
So it's already got some nice progress on there.
yeah,
You know,
the
knock on
second,
wood, they're,
yeah,
I'm not gonna say we're ahead, we're on schedule.
yeah.
They're on schedule, even
Yeah.
though they say they're ahead, I think
The-
that's just
the
good to be
second-
on.
The second pour of the concrete was
Yes.
today, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, Chris was
Was
saying
there-
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we were there at
fingers
6 a.m.
crossed, everything goes as planned, yes.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you, take care.
You too. All right, moving on to superintendent's report, Adam.
Upcoming items, we have a policy meeting on the 23rd, and then moving into July on the 21st, there's a special meeting that evening. And then the first regular board meeting of the next school year will be on August 11th. So it'll be here before we know it, and we will be ready to go. So that's upcoming items. Moving on to the Matt's Law reporting. Similar format as you've seen in previous years. The only statistical change that I would point out from previous years would be on the suspension rates for this past year. That number has gone up significantly as we continue to respond to increasing student need and some different behaviors than perhaps, or more frequency of those behaviors than we've seen perhaps in some previous years. So just to put that in comparison, this year we had 128 suspensions throughout the district. If you look back to last year, it was 81. The year prior to that was 75, and going back to 21, 22, which I think is the last year we would have valid data for prior or post-pandemic, was 61. So you could say in the last 4 years, those have doubled, and continues to be something that our staff addresses, and we continue to try to leverage different support systems to support students with their behaviors as they progress through the system. The statistical breakdown by building is located in the attachments just below the summary memo. Are there any, I'll pause on this one, are there any questions that I could address regarding this year's data? Moving on to the Zebra K-9 year-end roll-up, two different sets there. One showing the impact of our security team for the second semester, and then a roll-up in terms of their activity for the entire school year. Two quick notes on finances. I neglected to mention when Mr. Paulson was presenting. The weight room upgrades that he spoke of, that's courtesy of the recreation millage and being able to utilize that fund to directly support the community fitness center. As you might recall, the enhancing the weight room equipment was cut from the bond by the steering committee. Again, not criticizing whatsoever. They had tough decisions and we couldn't include all of those things. So we're trying to chip away at enhancing that equipment, much of which was original to the building or to the room through that fund. Similarly, the K-9 team is funded through 31 AA funds. Those have been the categorical code for school safety in the last couple budget cycles. What we've done with that fund this year was we rolled over enough of it into the following budget year, which will be this coming budget year, to continue to fund the K-9 team in the district. So even if 31AA gets cut, we don't know what's going to happen with the budget. Clearly at this point, we've secured that team for next school year by using last year's, well, this year's 31AA fund. Are there any questions on the benefits of having Gemini in our schools? All right. And then moving on then to summer project updates. This list is not all inclusive potentially. It really is going to depend on how many things we can get done in the next 8 weeks or so. So the clock is ticking and we're trying to move as quickly as possible. I'll just hit a couple highlights on this so you can kind of get a status update. So the high school fire alarm replacement, that is in progress. They started actually right away as soon as the students left. The school bus purchase, the bus is on site now at the transportation garage, and that will be replacing bus 25, which if you ask our drivers, definitely needed to go. So good timing there. The high school office access readers, those have been installed at the end of last week, and they're getting wired up now by the tech department. And just like all our buildings, what those are designed to do is to create a backstop at the back of the office so that if a person got through the main office and into the back portion, that they couldn't get through into the school because there's another set of card readers there. So this is something we've done at all the other schools, and we're finishing that project up at the high school. Well, it's already finished as soon as it's wired, but they are all installed. Window film is in progress at different locations, also funded by 31AA. So again, just kind of reiterating how important that categorical fund has been, and that's why I was so passionate about that back in the spring, to make sure the legislature recouped that to the anticipated amount for this past school year. Kids Course startup grants, all of these things are in progress to different extents. So for example, the restroom in B11, they've torn everything out, and then they have the rest of the summer to build it back with that new restroom. The playground fence has been installed, and then the cabinets, that has become a significant project. They tore out the original, what we believe to be the original 1950s cabinets out of some of those classrooms, and then discovered what was behind it, which was kind of interesting, but also kind of non-interesting. So there was no frame to build the new cabinets into. So I think this kind of goes back to just how our team functions in Williamston. It was a significant challenge, and our maintenance team kind of jumped in there and has been framing out those huge spaces that were created by tearing out those very dated cabinets so that the cabinet company can come and get an accurate measurement and then build the cabinets to be installed hopefully before the end of the summer. So that was kind of an unexpected surprise, but they're on top of it, and they actually had it all drywalled in today. They were showing me just about an hour ago, so kudos to Brent and Trent for all their work with that. Not underway yet, but I just thought I'd point this out because this is a change. The baseball walking path paving, we got quote back for that, and actually came in $10,000 less than we were anticipating, so that'll be a $15,000 expenditure. And that just ensures that the path walking out to the baseball stands and press box will be similar to what we're going to install at the softball field during that project of having that paved walking path through the concourse at the softball. I think that is all the ones I wanted to highlight as far as summer projects go. Are there any questions? This will fluctuate, like I said, based on how the summer goes, and if we're able to add something, we're hoping all these get done, but Brandon Weigertz will be here in August to kind of give you an update in terms of how it all went, but his team's working really hard.
Yeah, the list never gets smaller.
I think he said something similar to me a little while ago, yeah, so that is definitely true.
But yes, they did start, the second students were out, getting lockers, doing all the things, and moving out carpets and all of that stuff. So we look forward to a busy summer and seeing all the improvements when we come back in the fall.
And then just to round out the report with the bond update, so obviously the main event tonight was the presentation on the initial concepts for Explore, but some other work that's taking place. You can see some of it if you step out into the hallway, but locker tear out has started. Actually, if you go down to the 7th grade wing, you can see the lockers starting to come out, and some of the interesting green carpet that's been on the hallway down there for who knows how long, that's starting to come out as well. Furniture replacement, so the rest of that project should continue throughout the rest of the month and into July. Furniture replacement is also scheduled for the end of June and into the beginning of July. So a lot of the furniture that you see out in the classroom at the middle school and high school right now, that will go away, and the new flexible seating furniture, courtesy of the bond, will be arriving and in place for school to start in the fall. Softball slated, their official start date is the 29th of June, but if you go out to the parking lot, you can see that the site work has already started with the post and safety fencing going in, and so preparations are well underway to get that project going. A lot of the summer projects thus are kind of past the planning phase now, and they're into the execution phase, which is obviously where they should be. And a lot of the bond planning work has moved on now to actually the summer of 2026. So obviously, in addition to the flagship item for the bond, which you saw earlier today, We're looking at things such as how to replace the HVAC system in the pool, the high school parking lot, and middle school and high school flooring, which would all be next summer. So we're kind of moving out now a year out while the current projects are being accomplished this summer. So those are bond updates for this evening. Are there any questions I could address on those items?
Any questions for Adam? It's a lot, but so is the time of year. All right, seeing none, we do not have any board committee reports this evening. So for discussion items, the first is the mid-cycle progress report. So for Adam or any superintendent, they have to do, the performance evaluation system must include a mid-year progress report. So this is Adam's mid-year progress report.
You want me to kind of talk through it?
Go for it.
All right, well, so this is new with the change in the law that was passed about a year ago. I'll be upfront, I didn't really follow the process the way, the book process as far as how MASB has outlined this, so I took some liberties with some things here. But because it's new for all of us, we can at least kind of go back and recalibrate, and if there's something the board would like to see differently in a future mid-year progress report, we can certainly make those changes. What I did, and it follows a little bit different than what MASB suggested, was we've never done this in closed session, so I just kind of gave you my update here in the packet, and that we've always done it in open session. And so I gave just some bulleted points for the 5 board goals. None of this should be new. These are all things that we've seen consistently, whether through informal updates, formal presentations, data, other things that have been shared with the board throughout the last year. But just kind of tried to roll them all into one place and hit some of the highlights of the 5 board goals. I guess I'll pause there before I get to the second part for any discussion or questions that the board might have regarding what's been listed there.
So I agree with Adam that this shouldn't be a surprise, because we do hear at every single meeting, we get an educational update and superintendent report, but this puts things on paper where we all can see things. Yes, some things might be general bullet points, but if you want specific questions, go to Adam directly and ask him those questions, or do it now, because he's, like he said, this can be done in open session or in closed session, and he's opting for open session.
So really the way this should work is, we create these, I present them to you. I know that MASB suggests doing it in closed session, but it gives an opportunity for the board to ask questions. Like, I don't know, can you explain this more, or we don't understand this one, or can you, whatever it might be. It's just not how we've done it in the past, so like I said, I'm more than happy to address any questions on this now, or if you have questions later. And then this rolls into the formal eval, which would be in December, and so we'll kind of go through, I don't think this is going to change drastically in the next 6 months, but a similar process will be a more formalized feedback cycle that the
So
board
this
will
is the
participate in.
opportunity for Adam to present his quote-unquote evidence that he's doing an exceptional job as a superintendent, how he feels anyway. So any questions for Adam?
All right, well, the board does a good job of asking me questions, not necessarily in a meeting format all the time, so if you have questions, just call me, and be happy to discuss. The second part is more geared, again, the way MSB has focused it is designed to be an open session conversation where the superintendent and the board work to develop goals for the remainder of the rating cycle. Now, I know in the MASB template, which I attached under my document, which is the exact same as theirs, I just rewrote it so it was a little easier to work with from a formatting standpoint. This would be where, if the board has specific items that they would like the superintendent to focus on, they can bring those in, and then through a discussion, if we kind of coalesce around one of those being a goal or focus area for the future, that can get added. Ideally, that aligns with your board goals, so it's not something just completely unaligned. but something that you'd want to see the superintendent focus on. It can also be an area of the MASB rubric, so if you feel there's a deficiency or something that you'd like to see increased attention spent to, we could take a look at that as well. Obviously, the caveat with that is that the more attention spent over here, that would perhaps mean less attention spent somewhere else. So, but that's kind of the point of the dialogue, is to kind of have that open conversation. I took some liberties with this in terms of just presenting, again, just trying to be transparent and open, some of the things that I'm focusing on for next school year. So this might not necessarily be items the board would think would be important, but I wanted to kind of just, again, be transparent that I have things that I'm focused on just because I think there are things that need my attention. And so I've listed those under the goals for the remainder of the year. Doesn't mean we can't add to it here. And these are all either directly aligned or, I guess you could say, related to, at worst case, items within your 5 board goals. So they'll definitely support those. But I guess I'll pause there for now and just see if there's any goals or any other items you would like to add to the list, or any questions you have on the things I've identified for myself as areas I'd like to focus on.
I think that you've been very transparent, especially with this board. None of this to me is a surprise, and it shouldn't, again, to be to anybody else that sees this. So I don't have any question. But again, this is a mid-year checkpoint, so I think that that's nice that we can actually see it physically on paper as a visual to see the things that you're doing. And I'm sure you've left off many things that you also are doing that are not on this list too.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a lot of things that don't get on the list, but I think, you know, a lot of self-reflection in this role and wanting to make sure that I'm being proactive and trying to address some things. And there's just other stuff I've identified as, I think, a deficiency in leadership that I got to work on, right? So just like lifting weights, if there's something that you're not good at, you got to kind of attack that to get stronger. And so, you know, some of these items I'm going to just spend more time on, more focus on, and hopefully that will benefit our students and staff.
All right, if you do have any questions on this, please get with Adam. This will be up for next time we meet. And again, we will start the official evaluation process probably around Thanksgiving time is usually when we get around to doing that, because it needs to be done in December. All right, thank you, Adam. Next thing is motion to go into closed session. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion to go into closed session?
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Dave. Is there any discussion? Heather, this is a roll call item. Can you take us through roll call, please?
Yep. Chris?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Heather? Yes. Sarah?
Yes. All right, motion passes. We will be in closed session until we return. take a motion to come out of closed session.
Motion to come out of closed session?
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Dave. Is there any discussion? Heather, can you please take us through roll call?
Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Heather, yes. Sarah,
Yes. All right, motion passes. Thank you all very much. We have some action items. Can I get a motion for the consent calendar?
Make a
Move.
motion that the Williamston Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on June 2nd, 2025 as presented.
second.
Motion by Chris, second by Heather. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. There are several roll call vote items. Can I get a motion to approve contracts for at-will employees, paraprofessionals, and transportation?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve contract for at-will employees, paraprofessionals, and transportation. The respective contracts will be effective July 1, 2025.
Second?
Motion by Dave, second by Chris. Is there any discussion? Heather, can you please take us through roll call?
Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Heather, yes. Sarah,
Yes. All right, motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the 2024-25 general fund final budget resolution?
Make a be, are we reading all of this?
Yep, you do that $3. The others are shorter.
Okay. Be it resolved that the general fund appropriations for the Williamston Community Schools District for the fiscal year 2024-2025, which includes 18 mil of ad valorem property taxes to be levied on non-homestead and non-qualified agricultural property, and 0 mils on homestead and qualified agricultural property to be used for operating purposes, be adopted as follows. Revenues, local, $2,621,713. State, $21,752,876. Federal, $1,261,274. Incoming transfers and other transactions, $1,735,468, with a total revenue of $27,371,331. Unappropriated fund balance of $6,736,887. Total available to appropriate $34,108,218. Be it further resolved that $26,679,068 of the total available to appropriate in the general fund is hereby appropriated in the amounts for the purposes set forth below. Expenditures, instruction, basic programs, $12,049,254. Added needs, $2,741,625. Adult and continuing education, $10,437. Total instruction, $14,801,316. Support services, pupil services, $2,100,773. Instructional staff services, $1,276,880. General administration, $539,175. School administration, $1,661,184. Business services, $6,217,740. Total support services, $11,795,752. Facilities acquisition will be 0. Total support services, 0. Other financial uses, long-term debt, $82,000. Total other financing uses, $82,000. Total expenditures, $26,679,068. Total appropriated, $26,679,068.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Dave. Is there any discussion? All right, can you please take us through roll call, Heather?
Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Heather, yes. Sarah,
Yes. Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the 2025-26 general fund original budget resolution?
Be it resolved that the general fund appropriation for the Williamston Community Schools District for the fiscal year 2025-26, which includes 18 mils of ad valorem property taxes to be levied on non-homestead and non-qualified agricultural property, and 0 mils on homestead and qualified agricultural property to be used for operating purposes be adopted as follows. Revenues, local, $3,064,892. State, $21,601,224. Federal, $199,067. Incoming transfers and other transactions, $1,554,909. Total revenues, $26,420,093. Unappropriated fund balance, $6,407,564. Total available to appropriate, $32,827,657. Be it therefore resolved that $27,420,547 of the total available to appropriate in the general fund is hereby appropriated in the amounts for the purposes set forth below. Expenditures, instruction, basic programs, $12,563,690. Added needs, $3,402,978. Adult and continuing education, 0. Total instruction, $15,966,668. Support services, pupil services, $2,065,674. Instructional staff services, $1,384,561. General administration, $555,276. School administration, $1,688,785. Business services, $5,677,583. Total support services, $11,371,879. Facilities acquisition, 0. Total support services, 0. Other financing uses, long-term debt, $82,000. Other financing uses, $82,000. Total expenditures, $27,420,547. Total appropriated, $27,420,547.
Second.
We have a motion by Chris, second by Dave. Is there any discussion? Heather, please take us through roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Heather, yes. Sarah,
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the 2025-26 food service budget resolution?
Be it resolved that the Food Service Fund appropriation for the Williamston Community Schools District for the fiscal year 2025-26 be adopted as follows. Revenues, local, $105,300. State, $680,550. Federal, $250,000. Total revenues, $1,035,850. Operating transfer from general fund, 0. Total appropriation, $1,035,850. Be it further resolved that $1,041,684 of the total available to appropriate in the Food Services Fund is hereby appropriated in the amounts and for the purposes set forth below. Expenditures, food services, $1,041,684. Total appropriated, $1,041,684.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Dave. Is there any discussion? Heather, please take us through roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Heather, yes. Sarah,
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the 2025-26 Community Services Fund Budget Resolution?
Be it resolved that the Community Services Fund appropriation for the Williamston Community Schools District for the fiscal year 2025-26 be adopted as follows. Revenues, local, $541,975. State, 0. Federal, 0. Total revenues, $541,975. Operating transfer in from general fund, 0. Total appropriation, $541,975. Be it further resolved that $548,701 of the total available to appropriate in the Community Services Fund is hereby appropriated in the amounts and for the purposes set forth below. Expenditures, community services, $548,701. Total appropriated, $548,701.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Dave. Is there any discussion? Heather, please take us through roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Heather, yes. Sarah,
Yes. All right, motion passes. Final roll call item. May I please have a motion to approve the 2025-26 Special Revenue Budget Resolution?
Be it resolved that the Special Revenue Fund appropriation for the Williamston Community Schools District for the fiscal year 2025-26 be adopted as follows. Revenues local, $250,000. Total revenues, $250,000. Operating transfer in from general fund 0. Total appropriation, $250,000. Be it further resolved that 0 of the total available to appropriate in the Special Revenue Fund is hereby appropriated in the amounts and for the purposes set forth below. Expenditures, special revenue, 0, total appropriated, 0.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Dave. Any discussion? Well done, Chris, that was a lot. Good, thank you. Heather, can you please take us through roll call?
Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Heather, yes, Sarah.
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. Motion passes. Separate action items. Can I get a motion to approve the 2025-26 Kids Corner and Little Hornets Family and Employee Handbooks?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the 2025-2026 Kids Corner and Little Hornets Family and Employee Handbooks as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the 2025-26 High School Student Handbook?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the Williamston High School's 2025-2026 Student Handbook as revised.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve Reveal Math Curriculum for grades K through 8?
Move that the Williamston Board of Education approve the Reveal Math Curriculum for grades kindergarten to 8. The cost will not exceed $270,645, which includes ALEKS assessment for students and professional development for staff.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the 2025-26 Michigan High School Athletic Association membership?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the 2025-2026 Michigan High School Athletic Association membership as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion for approval of the 2025-26 Michigan Association of School Boards membership?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education renew its membership in the Michigan Association of School Boards for the 2025-2026.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Heather. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. That was a long list and at times lengthy motions, so thank you so much. We did have some correspondence, lovely letter from a former employee, as well as the ISD board election results that we touched on last week during board member reports and requests, or last meeting, I should say, and a thank you card. This brings up the second set of citizen comments. This is the time that citizens can approach the podium, and it doesn't have to be agenda items, it can be anything. Do I have any citizens that would like to address the board at this time? All right, seeing none. Board member reports and requests. I would just like to say that this is Jubilee Week here in town, so hopefully we'll see lots of people out and about within the community. Lots of things to look forward, such as the duck race, which is on Saturday, the scout breakfast on Sunday to kind of close out. Tonight is citizen, tell me what it is, Chris.
Citizen of the Year banquet.
Thank you. So, and then the kids parade will be on Wednesday, so lots of things. So lots of things to look forward to, not only this week with summer stuff, but also the summer projects that were taking place. Many we can't see, some are more visible than others. So big thank you to our maintenance and custodian staff for all that they are continuing to do to support us during the summer. This is, what do you call it, their moment
Yeah, this is their season.
Yes, their season, yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right, anything else? All right, I will take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Chris, I heard Heather, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?